A Labour minister has been sacked after vile racist and sexist messages were discovered, as well as one in which he joked that he hoped a non-Labour voting pensioner would die before the election. Andrew Gwynne, who served as a health minister, also made anti-Semitic slights and jokes about a constituent being mown down by a truck on a WhatsApp group. In one particularly disgusting message, the MP for Gorton and Denton said he hoped a 72-year-old woman who asked about bin collections was dead before the next election, Mail Online reports. The Stockport resident wrote to her local councillor saying she hadn't voted Labour, but added, "As you have been re-elected, I thought it would be an appropriate time to contact you with regard to the bin collections." After the councillor shared the letter among fellow Labour figures in the WhatsApp group, Mr Gwynne wrote a suggested response. "Dear resident, fuck your bins. In re-elected and without your vote. Screw you. P.S. Hopefully you'll have croaked it by the all-outs." All-outs are council elections at which every council seat is contested at once, unlike local authorities where only a third of seats are up for grabs at each election. The messages, uncovered by the Mail on Sunday, include several Labour councillors, party officials and at least one other MP from the Manchester area. The politician also made offensive remarks about Jewish people, after asking if Marshall Rosenberg would be in attendance at a Labour meeting. The reference is believed to relate to the late American psychologist who was famous for his conflict management techniques. He later added, "No. He sounds too militaristic and too Jewish. Is he in Mossad?" The MP was also revealed to have made racist jokes about Diane Abbott when she stood in for Jeremy Corbyn at PMQs in 2019. The clash was a defining moment in British politics, as she became the first black parliamentarian to represent their party at the weekly event. When asked if her appearance was a joke, Gwynne told the group that she was selected because it was Black History Month. A councillor then suggests other black Labour MPs, living and dead, asking, "Was David Lammy not available? It'd also take the corpse of Bernie Grant." Gwynne responded, "Or Desmond Swayne? Justin Trudeau?" A reference to an ongoing furore at the time after pictures emerged of the pair in blackface in their youth. A government spokesperson said, "The Prime Minister is determined to uphold high standards of conduct in public office and lead a government in the service of working people. He will not hesitate to take action against any minister who fails to meet these standards, as he has in this case." A Labour spokesperson said, "Andrew Gwynne has been administratively suspended as a member of the Labour Party. We are investigating comments made in this WhatsApp group in line with the Labour Party's rules and procedures. Swift action will be taken if individuals are found to have breached the high standards expected of them as Labour Party members." Mr Gwynne said, "I deeply regret my badly misjudged comments and apologise for any offence I've caused. I've served the Labour Party all my life and it was a huge honour to be appointed a minister by Keir Starmer. I entirely understand the decisions the PM and the party have taken and, while very sad to have been suspended, will support them in any way I can." Here is a summary of internet users' reactions. "The pensioners have been totally lied to. Starmer, Reeves, Rayner went out of their way to talk about pensioners that are not being paid what they need. We the Labour Party will change that once we are elected. What happened? They stopped the winter cold allowance. Blaming a $22 billion black hole. Then give the doctors a massive pay rise. Now we own an island in the Pacific which they are giving back to the people that live there and paying $18 billion for it. Surely the islanders there should be paying us. That's the equivalent of paying the winter fuel money to pensioners for 10 years. Reeves has her electric paid by the taxpayers. This government are the worst ever. There has to be a way to remove them on their lies alone. Andrew Gwynne, the true face of Labour. There surely can't be any pensioners who will be voting Labour ever again. Starmer, there are over 10 million pensioners and those that voted for you last time. If they switch their vote to Reform, you lose 2 votes. I hope most pensioners do vote Reform, especially those that voted Labour." When campaigning to become a leader of the Labour Party, Keir Starmer made strong statements about tackling anti-Semitism. He vowed to fight anti-Semitism in the party from day one if elected leader. Starmer stated, "I absolutely support the right of Israel to exist as a homeland and I support Zionism without qualification." He promised to tear out this poison by its roots and judge his success by the return of Jewish members who had left the party. Starmer committed to making changes in how the party handled anti-Semitism, acknowledging it had been a stain on our party. The reality is somewhat different, with Hamas supporters parading through the streets of London and abusing Jewish people and Labour MPs speeding a message of hate. When bidding to be leader, Starmer said he had a desire to rebuild trust with Jewish communities. He spoke of meeting with Jewish groups and ensuring they felt heard within Labour. I think the Jewish community has heard this message loud and clear. 2TK has repeatedly said he believes the UK can resolve problems from outside the EU. He wants to explore new opportunities created by Brexit. He seeks to improve the Brexit deal rather than reverse it. Importantly, he has firmly positioned himself as accepting Brexit, stating we have left the EU now, and there is no going back, and promising to focus on improving the current arrangement rather than seeking to rejoin. So come on Remies, which part of that is a Starmer lie, or do you accept that we are not going back to the Ponzi scheme? I hope the Standards Committee are going to deal with this MP. If it's up to me, I would give a suspension for over 10 days, giving the constituency chance of a recall vote. He was only sacked for speaking his mind. What he said was the vile truth. We've seen in Labour's minds the way they have treated our nation so far. The public should also be made aware of the recipients of this email. They are as guilty as Gwynne for not called him out. Just shows that the Labour Party is still riddled with sleaze. There will be a lot more dirt pulled out from under the carpet over the coming months. Whilst Labour were in opposition, they loved slating the Tories. During which time, the media and the Tories were finding the dirt on the Labour opposition. This will now be spoon-fed out on a monthly basis. R.I.P. Labour. His views about OAPs are clearly reflected in his government's policy. He, along with all the other socialists, voted to freeze our OAPs to death, while the Tories used their COVID policies to achieve the same objective. How surreal. So what did Sir Tootier done about all the others who shared the WhatsApp? Has he suspended them? Or is that too much to ask? He was only sacked for speaking his mind. What he said was the vile truth. We've seen in Labour's minds the way they have treated our nation so far. They are all missing a major point by concentrating on this MP. Most of the other people in this group must also share or tolerate these traits, as no one appears to have called him out. Who else was in this group that we should know about? Is this not hate speech? Why are they not being talked to by the police? Or forgot it's only anti-Labour the hate speech means? Good point. They could call in a specialist team from Durham Constabulary as soon as they can wipe the curry off their faces and have the beer stains cleaned from their uniforms. I would hardly call it a hate speech. This fine example of a Labour MP is only doing what comes naturally to him, when you know his origins. Sir Stammerer can huff and puff as much as wants, but he will never manage to erase the memories that the voting public have of him grabbing as many freebies as he could carry from Ali Polly. This communist was a member of the Haldane Society, look it up, and only left so that he could take up the job of DPP. The leopard does not change its spots, and Stammerer's loyalty is not to Britain. This man is a danger to our country and must be removed. Now we need to see every other sitting Labour MP that was in the group that he shared these comments with that didn't report him. For these comments sacked immediately, or we have a very broken system of governance, because they are as guilty as he is for failing to report him.